Hey, my cat has messed up the whole thing here with rubbing up against stuff, so everything's all crooked. I'm crooked. It's time for Jolly Roger Ukulele Friday Dance Party. We meet here every Friday to play fingerstyle ukulele, and so go to jollyrogerukulele.com, and from there you will get your head hurt with how much stuff is on that site. Good chunk of it is free, and then some of it is to buy, and mostly you'll become a great ukulele player if you go over there. And I've been doing it for a couple years now, and I don't know, 400 or 500 pieces of music on there, along with instructions, the stuff for teachers, stuff for students. Hopefully the best fingerstyle ukulele place ever. Definitely know it's got the most well thought through musical arrangements and that are available on planet Earth. I know one other guy who writes pretty good stuff, and other than that, we're stuck with what I do. Let's go to Twitter real quick, and let me post this over there. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. Patience. Click here. Put on our logo. The only one I have on this computer is the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra logo, so that's what I use. I gotta drag some others over here onto this. Jeremy. Nice. He is a crossword puzzle guy. Cool. How exciting. All right. Today we're going to be playing, the main thing is to learn our scales, play some major scales in both baritone and in ukulele. If we have time, then we'll also review the Make It Better bar worksheet, and the strumming in the key of A major. We'll pick a song, and if we have time. Happy Birthday Blinky Style is our song for book 2. Vive la Companie is our song to learn in book 2, and then we have 2 Broadway tunes, and I will say mea culpa here in just a minute about getting you stuff sooner. Things have been a level of crazy that you would think it's summertime, right? It's supposed to be like, nah, everything's getting calm and easy, and you're settling into a routine. Everything in my life is sort of settled down, and it just keeps coming. The crazy just keeps coming. So I am hopeful that we're getting close to being the end of that. I have discovered I don't have my sheet music here. Don't run off. Okay, I'm back. Let's hope the sheet music is in here. That would be lovely. It appears to be. Dun, 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 dun. And how charged up are we? 58%. We're groovy. All right, so I got book 1 is what we're starting our discussion with today. And for those of you who are new, book 1 is everything. Book 1 is where it's at. Book 1 is where I want everybody to do everything in book 1. Because once you've got book 1 down, book 900 is fine. But everything is in book 1. Book 1 is the solution to life. And so please don't think that if you're in book 1, you're like, oh, that's for beginners. No, not at the right way to think about it at all. Book 1 is the keys to the kingdom. And so if you will take it seriously and really dive into all of these, I've really thought them through. Every single lesson is meaningful. Every single lesson leads to the next thing. By the time you get to lesson 30, you're a fine player. You'll be fine in book 2. You'll be fine in book 900. You'll just be fine, right? But you got to get these basic skills in your belt. There are a few skills, and we're talking a few that I don't cover in book 1, but really my job is to get you everything in 30 lessons. And if I can get you everything, with the exception of a couple of really ridiculous techniques, you can go off into the world and create beautiful music and help other people get started on this instrument. And so yes, so that is my plan today. Let us very quickly, and by the way, I didn't shave today or yesterday or the day before. I don't know why I don't know. It just hasn't captured my imagination. Vic is in. Sound and video are good. Sunny up in Eugene today. Philip is here. He's a local. Good to see you, Phil. We're having about a 900 degree temperature day out there. I was out earlier. here's was my entire amount of time outside. Donna's out of town, so I said, all right, I'm gonna go get lunch over at Noodles, and so and then it's next to Starbucks. I need to buy coffee anyway, so I go over there. I go out of into the basement where my car is parked, and I drive out, and I have air conditioning, of course, running, and so everything's going great. I pull up in the parking lot. I get out of the car, and it was just like somebody went "Puh," right in my face. So hot outside. It is. Here's the temperature report from Denver, Colorado, July 15th at 3:06. It's 93 degrees out there, plus the humidity is like super heavy out there because we're going to get a little rain this afternoon, so it's unpleasant outside. So don't go outside, just stay inside. All right, I think the chat bar has been dying on me from time to time lately, because sometimes it seems like we go for a long time and you guys don't put in anything in the chat bar. Just a reminder, questions, comments, hilarious things, meaningful thoughts, whatever, use the chat bar. Just let me know. It's easier for me to know, hey, if you're struggling with something or whatever, if you'll give me a clue, right? Generally speaking, I just assume you're playing perfectly at your house and everything's going great, but don't be shy about putting stuff in the chat bar. You just have to be logged into your Gmail account or into YouTube, which is essentially a Gmail account. All right, let's get your ukuleles on. We're going to go to Make a Better Bar worksheet first. I don't even need to grab the worksheet, do I? If you're on baritone, you're going to start on 5, go down to 12, and then jump back up to 1. If you are on ukulele, you're going to start on 0, you're going to come down to 12, and you're going to come back to 0. Okay? We're going to grab this hand. This is so important. Thumb, index, middle, ring, going down, and then ring, middle, index, thumb, coming back up. Okay? Try to get every note clean. Adjust your bar either up or down, or forward or backward as you go up, if you're getting some dead notes. Okay, I very rarely complete this exercise perfectly, so if you have a bunch of dead notes, know you're in good company. Here we go from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure or fret 1, fret 2, 3. Double check your thumb. If you want to put your middle finger on top of your bar, it's allowed. Roll your finger forward sometimes helps. Or roll it back. Here's 12. Now change your pattern. Right hand shouldn't be jumping around. It should just be nice and steady, making the least amount of motion possible. We're on. Stay with it. If I could do anything on earth, if I ever have any impact whatsoever, I kind of wish that my legacy would be that every single ukulele player in the world, they sit down for a few minutes a day, they put their sheet music in front of them, they wrap their ukulele around them, they tune up George Clooney Eats Apples or Dog Bone, depending on which type of ukulele they have, and then they go through that activity right there. It'll make your bars. If you just take that, 1 minute every single day to just run through that, that's going to get your bar in so much better shape. And that bar is going to be useful on all sorts of other things that you have to do. If you get the bar part figured out, the rest, we just roll right along. as if we know what we're doing. And I think, honestly, when I watch people that I know play, right, or I have students who come in and I see what they're struggling with, in the beginning there's one set of struggles, but you get over those pretty quickly. It's the bar that seems to, that struggle just sort of hangs around. It sort of lingers for a while, and it's particularly noticeable on guitar, but it's not, it's equal, it can be equally problematic on ukulele, simply because we have an instrument that doesn't have a lot of forgiveness. Like with guitar, you can blah, you know, kind of, it's got a little sustain. It's got kind of a little bit of caulk and paint that will cover up your mistakes. Ukulele, not so much. This is you are living with your notes, right? And they're very precise and very out there, kind of piercing in some senses, and people hear it when you goof it up. And I don't worry about that anymore. But it's doubly important to be play as clean as you can on your bars, and to get them in place as soon as possible, because even I'm sure today, I don't even remember what we're playing in book 2, but I'm almost positive we're going to get something up the neck that's a bar, and you just have, you know, it's just nice to have those things in place. I also think because I don't really hand out exercise stuff. That seems like a fair exercise, right? It's better than running. I don't know. You should see the goofy stuff that my guitar teacher has me do. Right? It's all these really super unpleasant activities, and yeah, they are important. I'm not negating their importance, but on our instrument, really playing music is the best therapy, both for your brain and for your fingers. And because of all of the more complicated arrangements we have on the website, the songs themselves are going to take care of the techniques you need for the most part. The one technique I can't teach you through music is bars, right? And so you really have to study them separately as their own thing, and then just get where you're like, you know what, bars are part of what I do. In the beginning, they sound like that. Over time, they get better, but let them sound crummy at first as you're working on making them not crummy. All right, that's my big pitch on bar chords. Let's run through today's musical. Let's run through the lesson 11 major scales today now, and then if we have any time, we'll grab one of those songs out of the little book. So grab your major scale, ukulele scales or major scales. And baritones, you kind of got to sit back for a moment and just listen, right? Then we'll switch to baritone, and then we'll switch back. Well, we won't switch back. Well, maybe we will. Ukulele, there's only one scale I care about, and that's your C scale. Let's talk about scales and why they're important. Number one, scales are really not as important as musicians make out. The fingering you do on scales may or may not have anything to do with fingerings you use on real music. I did piano scales forever, still have to do them, and then once you're done with your scales, then you go to real music, and the fingering doesn't necessarily line up with your scales, so that in and of itself isn't helpful. On the piano, because every single key is significantly different in the way you finger it, and there are some that are in kind of groups, like there's I think 6 major ones that are all sort of the same and so on, but generally speaking, you got a lot of different shapes and things you have to do on piano. With our instrument, you really only have to know one, and then you just use a bar, and there we go, to move it up the neck. So it's not, it doesn't have the same cachet on fretted instruments, because we can rig the system in our favor just by using a bar and sliding it up the neck. There are different scales. There are major scales, minor scales. There are modes. There are blues scales. There's all kinds of scales. And the only people who ever talk to me about scales are people who have been trained in music in some other instrument, and they have drank the Kool-Aid that scales are super important. Scales are not super important on our instrument. However, knowing what a scale is and how it's constructed and how it lays that onto this instrument, I think has some value. So let's take a look. Playing the C scale, you notice I put the piano up there. The one thing you have to memorize in music, you don't get out of it, is how the notes go. So on that piano, I've told you, here's middle C, and it's a white note. The little black note next to that is going to be a C sharp. Okay, because it's going up all of the sharps. Okay, next one's a D. The white note is a D. Next one's a D sharp. next one's an E, and then an F. And notice there's no black note between E and F. Then you have an F sharp, and then a G, and then a G sharp, and then an A, and then an A sharp, and then a B, and then there's no black note, and then there's a C. Now, if I were you and I didn't know that, I would write those down and I would run through that every single day until I had it 100% memorized. Also, of note, all those black keys have a separate name, and it's if you're going down, they have flat. So if I start on the high C and I go down, I hit the B, there's no black note. And then there's a B flat, the black note is a B flat. Then there's an A, the black note below that is an A flat. Then there's a white key G, and then below that is a G flat. Then you got your two that are stuck together, F and then E, and then the E going down is an E flat, and then a D, and then a D flat, and then you're back to middle C. So that's the names of the notes in ukulele music. A lot of times we simplify stuff in piano music. If you're playing Chopin, there's a thing called an E sharp. Well, you look at that and you're like, there is no black key after the E. It's an F. So an E sharp is an F. They're the same thing, but in higher level, weirder keys, you do have things called like E sharps, but in ukulele we really don't do that kind of nonsense. It's going to be an F. You will see on some of my more advanced stuff that I do get kind of persnickety about that, but for the most part we round it off. You'll also notice sometimes in music sharps and flats get mixed together, and that's oftentimes about what it looks like on the page. So in fact, just yesterday or the day before, one of the writers for our orchestra turned in some stuff, and in one measure he had a flat and a G sharp in the same measure. Now in his case, it's just that his software was stupid and didn't know and just put it in there, and he didn't check it. They should have either both been G sharp or both A flats in that situation. But you'll find cases looking at more advanced music where there's a sharp and a flat in the same measure, and there's usually a musical reason for it, or somebody just wasn't paying attention. So that's what a scale is always C to C, or B to B, or A to A, or G to G, or so a scale, whatever note you start on, you end on it, and then you turn around and come back. Now, onto the tablature. Notice that I gave you the standard notation is all half notes, right? And so you can see what's happening with it. It's just going up, right? And for those of you guys who have never taken time to learn the staffs and the spaces, on a staff, F-A-C-E, right? That's your spaces, and then every good boy does fine, or every good boy deserves fudge. Are the lines. Those are just metaphor ideas. Those are not things. Unlike tablature, which it's a string, right? On a regular musical staff, it's just an idea. This is the idea of what's going on this staff. There are lots of different kinds of staffs. You'll see bass clef staffs, and those have a different lettering system. You'll see alto staff clefs. They have a different numbering. Tenor staff clefs. Tenor clef staffs will have a different lettering system, and so all of those are sort of historical oddities about the way music is done, and it's still done that way today. On ukulele, we only care about the treble clef. All that other stuff is for somebody else in the band to deal with. So in other words, even on baritone, we only use the treble clef, and there are a couple of distinct differences about it, but for basic notes that you might want to learn, every good boy does fine, and F-A-C-E, and those are your ideas. On this one, I also put two lines. Okay, the vertical line to the left is for you low G players. So low G, you could technically do a G scale in first position from G to G. You in fact could do a double octave scale and go up to the high G, which is sitting right there. Okay, so you theoretically could do a double octave staff. I don't know why you would worry about it, but if you've got some previous training, you'd be like, oh, that is very important. It's not. And then on the other side, I put some extra notes on there, just, so hey, at some point, that's a D, this is an E, right? Here's an F, here's a G, and here's another A. Those are not all on the paper, but you get the idea. What we care about is the two between the lines, okay? Starts on C, ends on C, life is good. Let's play the tablature now, and Let's see how we do on that. Let's see let's see. I love the warm weather. Oh, Philip's from Florida. He's like, yeah, 93 is fine. Yeah, 93 is ghastly, Philip. Yago made it in. Hey, bud. So is that G that is part of the C major scale, not the one that is the low G area, always on fret 3 of the second string? It's a great question. You have this G here, right? 0 on the 4th string. And you have this G here, which is a 3 on the 2nd string. It's the same note. So the question is, why would I use this note, a 3 on 2, rather than a 0 on 4? The main reason is that if I don't pull it any notes that are important on this, then I don't care whether you're playing as a high G or a low G. That note's never gonna mess anybody else up. If I always put it here, we can play the same music on high G and low G ukulele, and it's going to be great. The other reason, which is actually more important, in this scale we're going to do, it seems weird that you would do 2 notes on this one, 2 notes on this one note way up over here, then go down to the 1st. Okay, so it just creates everything being out of order, whereas if we always play that G note here, everything is in better order for playing. Okay, can you use it? Sure. Should you use it? Probably not. Does Jake Shimabukuro use it? Yeah, but he's working on close harmonies, he's working on a whole different series of things. He's not teaching you how to play a scale, right? I'm teaching you how to play a scale, and a million other melodies, and on those melodies, always, not always, 99% of the time, the G's going to show up here, even though you have a perfectly good G there. I would, generally speaking, just be like, you know what, helpful information, but Gary always puts a G, uses this G note. I'm probably always going to use that G note. That makes sense, right? When you're Jake Shimabukuro and you want to toss in that one, you can realize he's playing with a whole set of tools that none of us have available to us, called starting ukulele at 4 years old and having done nothing else in his life, right? So he's got skills and techniques that we are not going to have. But in general, when you see a G note on the 2nd line of the staff, it should be thought of as a 3rd fret string 2. Yes. There we go. That's the short answer. Yes, Philip. That's where it is. Think of it there. Just know in your head it's also there. Okay? Good. All right. Let's play this step. Let's play this scale together. When we play scales, you go up to the high note and then immediately turn around and come right back. So when you get to that high note, when you get to the high C, don't play it twice. Just turn around and come right back. Okay? I don't know why that's a rule, but it's a rule. It's not a rule. It's what I was taught in piano. So it's what I'm teaching you in ukulele. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 2, 3. Turn around. 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 2, 0. Yeah, I'm not quite at Jake's level either. I got this much more to go, and then I'll be you know, and then he'll be opening for me. Okay, just this much more to go. All right, now when I'm doing scales, or a lot of times when I'm playing melody, I go straight to thumb, right? Because it's kind of reliable, and I don't need to go super fast. But I don't want you to always do that. I also want you to do index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. I think I'm doing them backwards. Okay, so let's do the same scale. Start with your index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 2, 3. Back around. 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 2, 0. dramatically makes it more challenging, right? So I do think this is one of those things where it's kind of fun to practice your IMs. I got them all right or not, but it's just one other way of getting yourself smarter and getting your fingers where they're sort of just doing their own thing, where they can do more things than you think. Several notes on scales. One, if I just added 1 to all of these numbers, instead of 0, I'm going to play a 1, and then a 3, and then a 1, and then a 2, and a 4, and a 1, and then a 3, and then a 4, and then back down. I've just played a C sharp major scale just by adding 1. So you can see that essentially all I did was stick a bar on 1 here, played the same exact scale, just added 1 to all of my fret numbers, and now I played a C sharp. Same thing would happen with D and D sharp or E flat, and so you just kind of march them up the neck. At some point you're playing way down here and you're like, that's all of the major scales I have. On the other instruments, such as piano or harp, they'll do 2 octaves or even 3 octave scales. I have one scale that I have to do on guitar, which is 3 octaves, but they have a lot more notes on those instruments. We really have about 1.5 octaves, so all of our scales are just 1 octave scales. You can theoretically, on a low G ukulele, go from here to here and get your 2nd octave. Not theoretically. In reality, you can do it, but that's after that you start getting way up into high frets, and it's just going to sound bad. So scales are somewhat meaningful in the sense that you need to understand how a scale is constructed. Notice in the C1 here, we don't even use any of the black notes, right? It's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and turns around and comes right back down. We don't use any of the black notes. The frets that you skipped when you were doing this scale, the notes that you skip are either the sharps or the flats. They're the black keys. So if I play a black key in here, you hear all these what? Right? There are all these high tension moments when you're hitting a black note inside of a C scale. It makes you be like, oh, that's not how that's supposed to go. And then thankfully, by the time I got to the top of the scale, I've resolved it with a nice C at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, I can live with that. And that's how we create tension and drama in music, is by using notes that maybe don't necessarily go into the scale, and that's where you see sharps and flats showing up in the music. Several thoughts on here. If I was playing this, I'm thinking about positional playing. First position is always index in the first fret, middle finger in the 2nd fret, ring finger in the 3rd fret, pinky finger in the 4th fret. That's first position. The next popular position is 5th position, right? Because you've covered all 4 of your notes here. 5th position is 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that way, if you have an 8 in your song, you just slide up to 5th position. Your pinky magically shows up on 8. We use 8s a lot in our arrangements, so playing in 5th position is going to happen quite a bit. Your final position is 9, 10, 11, and 12. We don't do too much of that in ukulele. The notes are up here. Are just so they're tough notes, and your string gets so short it's really hard to get clean tone. So we don't do a ton of work up on the high end of the fretboard, other than the first string, which was where melody shows up quite a bit. Let's see. People use scales to warm up their hands before playing real music. I don't think you need to do that. I think your hands are fine. Okay. And then bottom line, down at the bottom, there are your notes, and I just put in the white notes on here, and everywhere where there's not a note on your fretboard, that's where the sharps and flats are. So if you're on the first string and you go to the 1st fret, it's either an A sharp or a B flat, that note right there. But truth be told, you don't need to know this. You really don't, because we play from tablature. Even at some point in the future, if you're like, you know what, I am serious about music, I'm going to learn how to do all of this on standard notation 1, I think you will find that you will work really hard on something you didn't need to work on. But more importantly, yeah, you'll be able to then sit and theoretically read all standard notation and just stick it on your ukulele and play. The downside of that is the music's not set up for our instrument in any meaningful way, and so it will normally drop way below middle C. It'll go way high. It'll bounce all over the place, and you're probably thinking, why would I play from standard notation when I've got plenty of songs to play from tablature? That's the correct thought in your head, but I'm not against you learning these notes or spending a little bit of time thinking about where some of the notes are. But honestly, if I had to sit down and figure out what all these notes are, I'd have to count them out, because I mean, I'm at this 20 years and I just don't need to know that information. I do know where all my notes are on the first string, because that comes up a lot, but I don't necessarily. You just don't need to know everything that's here, even though some part of your brain's like, I'm really going to learn all this stuff. Hey Don, welcome in. All right, play the C scale this week. We'll play it again on next week. Remember, those of you guys that are involved in the program, we're not going to meet Monday night. A thing came up, and what were we going to do? How to practice. I'm going to put that together. I've got an email getting ready to send out to you today, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow. I'm going to get that out to you guys about memorizing and how to practice and all that stuff. And so this week I want you just to work on this C scale, so that it just comes out of your ukulele super smooth, and then work on your better bar. We're not going to get to the strumming book today. Sorry, we don't have to. You're already great at it, right? Very quickly, if you're on baritone, I want you to go grab your baritone scales, because you get 3 of them. Okay, major scales baritone is what the paper is called. Let's see if I can grab mine. Major scales baritone. You guys have 3 of them on here because you've got a little bit more notes on yours. You get some extra scales. So the same scale that we just did in C on ukulele is in G on your instrument. Okay, so that's a G scale for you guys. You also, if you use your very lowest note, you can play a D scale, which is. Okay, so you have that available. And ukulele players, if you have a low G ukulele, that's a G scale for you. And then next week when we play our scales, baritone players, you're going to actually play your C scale, which is much harder to play than on ukulele. Your C scale starts here on your C note, and then notice when you get to 5 on the first string, you are actually going to slide up into 5th position and get 5, 7, and 8. So your C scale, and by the way, ukulele players, you can play along with me right now. Play your C scale. Baritone players will play your C scale from the top. 1, 2, 3, play. Fifth position. First position. Okay, so yours is actually on baritone quite a bit more interesting than the one on ukulele. Next week we will only play the C scale. So this week, if you have a baritone, practice this one. The big key for me is that switch up into 5th position. As soon as I hit that, I'm going to let that ring as long as possible, but I'm already lifting my index finger up and preparing it to be here. Okay, you don't necessarily have to lift it up, but you'll get that, right? So I don't really want that. 5, 7, and 8, and then coming back. Okay, and that's your C scale. All right. Also, not unimportantly, baritones come out an octave lower than they're written. So it looks like your C note is way higher than the ukulele one, but it's not because you're on the octave clef, and so that's your middle C, just the same as this middle C, right? That's the same note. It's just on baritone. It looks like it's an octave higher than it really is. It just, you play it on the higher notes, but it comes out the sound hole at the lower octave. It's just the way it is. Don't overthink it. Just sort of let it be its thing. All right, guys, we got to move on. I'm going to leave the strumming book on there for next week. Next week we get a key of C strummers, and so it'll be kind of fun to compare those two. So we'll take the Make a Better Bar worksheet out there. You've honest and swear to God, you're going to start doing that Make a Better Bar each time you sit down and play. You don't even need the paper, right? Just run up and down the neck. And we'll play the major scales next week, and then we'll do a bunch of strumming next week, and then after that we dive into Tuff and learning how to play chord melody. It's a big deal when we get to lesson 13. Big deal. All right, thanks guys. That's the end of book one. If you're new and you're just doing book one and you're trying to stay in your lane, you can sneak out. But why would you do that? We're going to play Happy Birthday and Vive la Companie, and you already know how to play melody. So let's go on to book two. Hi everybody, that's book two. Grab your Happy Birthday Blinky style. Again, Blinky was a guy here in Denver who, happy birthday, oh, I'm in book one. Book two. It was a guy who lived here in Denver, and he would sing Happy Birthday in this very charismatic, kind of interesting way. And now you get to do it. Finally, I'm in the right folder. Let's see here. Happy Birthday, Blinky style. All right. So this is an ensemble arrangement. That means that everybody can play together. So we're going to divide. We're going to divide and conquer. We're going to go through here on the different things. Okay. I'm going to grab a baritone first. Here's my G chord. Okay. Ukulele, your G chord looks like this. Okay. You're going to play that. Here's my D7. Okay. And ukulele, your D7. No, I'm lying. This is a G chord on ukulele. This is a D7 on ukulele. Okay, baritone, your G chord's here, and here's your D7. Okay, and those are your only two chords until you get to this big moment where baritone, we add a C, and ukulele, you know your C. Okay, and then G, D7, G to finish. So I've asked you to memorize. So far I've asked you to memorize one thing. Frere Jacques, 0240, 0240, 457, 457, 797, 540, 797, 540, first, second, first, second, first. That's one thing I want you to memorize. I want you to know that. The second thing, I always sort of forget this when I do that scale. So you really do have to memorize the piano notes, what order they're in. I don't see any way of you getting out of being a musician without knowing that 12-note pattern on the piano. So I guess I'll add that to the fourth thing you have to memorize. It's not really a song, but it's a thing you have to memorize. Second thing you have to memorize, 2.5, is G, D7, G, D7, C, G, D7, G. Okay? So it's G, D7, G, D7, C, G, D7, G. That's Happy Birthday. Okay? And whether you do Blinky style or regular style, doesn't matter. Those chords, get them in your head so you don't have to go look up the sheet music for Happy Birthday. Okay? Grab your chords. I'm going to play in G. Okay? I'm playing baritone. You're playing ukulele. Probably. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Shuck, 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 shuck. Happy birthday to you. Shuck, 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 shuck. Happy birthday, dear children. Happy birthday to you. Okay, that's it. Let's play it one more time. I strummed. Now I'm going to just switch to plucking, okay, for fun. All right. Strumming is good. Plucking is better. There, I've said it. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Shug, 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 shug. Happy birthday to you. Shug, 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 shug. Happy birthday, dear children. Happy birthday to you. Shug, 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 shug. Okay. So I should have had a lower tonality than you, but we should have still sounded pretty good together if you're on ukulele. You're playing a G chord, I'm playing a G chord, you're playing a D7, I'm playing a D7. They just have different tones because I'm on baritone, you're on ukulele. Theoretically, if you're on baritone, we should have sounded the same, right? So those are your chords. Memorize, memorize, memorize also. You don't have to look it up because the only song you're likely to play until you join my orchestra, right? Or until you decide you're taking the show on the road, the only song you're likely to play for somebody else is Happy Birthday, right? And you do it as a joke, right? Your 12-year-old nephew is turning 13, and the way you ruin his life is show up to his birthday party with your ukulele, say, "Hey, Uncle Gary has a gift that he's ready to give to you." You get all of his friends around, put him in the middle, and sing him Happy Birthday with you on ukulele. It'll scar him for life. You will have the best time ever. His friends will have the best time ever. It is genius. Okay, so Happy Birthday. Memorize those chords. Now let's play the melody. Okay, just the melody. Now the shug 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 isn't in the melody. I'm going to play the baritone melody. You're going to play the ukulele melody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Go. 2, 3. And then repeat. Okay? All right. Next, Tuff uke. Okay? I'll play it one time, Tuff uke on baritone. If you're on ukulele, you play the Tuff uke line on the ukulele line. Okay? And when you get to the shug shug shugs here, they're staccato. Right? Just like that. Or okay? And to do staccato, whatever chord it is, pull off and then immediately bring your hand back down. We learned that in La Cucaracha out of book 1. Dun 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 dun. Right? And so on this one it's okay. And so put your hand, once you make the sound, then put your hand right back down to stop it, and that's how you make your staccato. Okay? From the top, do the Tuff uke if you can. If you can't do the Tuff uke, do the melody by itself. 1, 2, 3. Let it ring for a minute, and then go. Repeats, right? Okay, doesn't that work? That's total. It's Happy Birthday, right? But everybody's gonna freak out. They're gonna be like, "Wow, what did you do to Happy Birthday? You are a genius. That is the coolest arrangement ever." No, mostly they'll be like, "You're not playing that right." Okay, now I'm going to switch to ukulele. You guys, if you have ukulele, I'm now going to play with you. Baritone players, you playing the same thing you played before. Okay, if Tuff uke's feeling like a lot, that's okay. Play the melody from the top, 3-beat count in, and I got to get my head around the new key shape. 1, 2, 3. repeat. Okay, the last time you come through, remember, you don't play measure 8 if it's the second time through. Usually in orchestra, I have them play it twice through. The first time I have it do straight instrumental, and then the second time through, the singers, I tell them, you guys switch to chords and sing, and everybody else stay on your part, and that way we get, those who like to sing get a chance to. But remember, when you come around that last time through measure 9, it says RIT up there at the top of measure 9. RIT means slow down. When I rewrite this, I'm going to write slow down, right? Because RIT used to mean, RIT has never meant anything. Everybody puts it on their music, but it doesn't mean anything. It means slow down in some way, but it doesn't tell you exactly how to slow down. But when you come in the last time, look at here, bar on 7, pinky on 10. We talked about a little bit about bars just in book 1. Okay, there it is, shows up. Okay, so you're going to be doing a lot of bars. That's why every day make you better. All right, and it makes you better looking too if you can do bar chords. All right, there's Blinky style. Happy birthday. I think it's. I think this is the greatest arrangement of music ever in the history of the world. And I think you should be like, oh, thank God, I finally can do Happy Birthday in a way that's not stupid. Notice there is an arpeggio if you're playing with other players and they know how to pick out an arpeggio. We have some people in our orchestra do that just to kind of keep things different and interesting and make it more complex. We also have the harmonica in both diatonic and chromatic, two different ways on chromatic harmonica. So obviously you're coming to my harmonica classes as well so that you can get good at that. That takes about 15 minutes to learn how to play the harmonica, and then maybe if you're not working on it very hard, maybe 3 or 4 months to get where you sound good, and then after that it's that's it. That's all there is to know. And so, no, that's not true. There are advanced harmonica stuff, but I don't know how to do it, so I don't teach it. So anyway, you've got a harmonica version on here. Plus, harmonica makes your lungs stronger, and then you don't have to go hike, because going outside's gross. All right, I think I made that joke already. Let's go on to our new song for this week, Vive la Companie. Ukulele, book 2, VTUV. I, of course, don't have it loaded in yet. Let me go add it on here. Hopefully I have it in the book. Have we not done it in this pen? Yes. Vive la Companie Ukulele. I don't have Vive la Companie. Seriously, I don't have the baritone one? Ah, Gary, so disappointing. We do treat baritone equally to regular ukulele because some of you have big hands. And so it'd be nice to be able to play that, play a ukulele just in a different key. All right, Vive la Companie. Of course, the wrong one pulls up. Fix that. Vive la Companie, you may not necessarily know it because it's not particularly common. If you were in the Boy Scouts, you probably know it, and other than that, I don't think you would know it. Let me give you a brief. You know how good my singing is, right? I took a class. I failed at the first, didn't fail it. I got a D the first time, and then I got a B, so I got better at singing. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la Companie. Success to each other and pass it along. Vive la Companie. Now that's just regular, right? It's a lovely melody. The chords are fine. But now look at what happens with the melody. The melody gets real flat, but the chords actually sound much cooler than you'd think. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive l'amour, vive l'amour. Vive la Companie. Isn't that beautiful? It's really cool. And wait till you hear it with the chords. Okay, so that's the song you're going to be working on. 4 verses. I don't know what the other verses are about. A friend on your left and a friend on the right, and it's just all about we're teammates and we're all going to get along great. And one of the things ukulele players are not known for is getting along with as a team. We have very nice people, but when you go to a strum along, everybody's sort of doing their own thing, right? And then they say, okay, here's the strum pattern, and then nobody does the strum pattern that way. So what we're going to be working on is the normal way you should approach every piece of music that certainly that I give to you, and most music in general. I want you to always, always, always start with chords, because chords will inform how you end up playing the Tuff uke. And if you skip over looking at the chords, you've robbed yourself of an opportunity to just make things way, way easier for you. This song sang at all our family reunions. There you go. How about that? That's nice, right? So, see, Sandy's got real-world experience with this. That's cool. I love that idea. All right, grab your chords. If you don't sing, look around you. The only one in your basement is you and your cat. Your cat's fine with you singing. You can do that. At the very minimum, hum the song along, okay? It's a 2-beat count-in. I gotta fix this someday. All right. 1, 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. Success to each other and pass it along. Vive la compagnie. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive l'amour. What's next page? Vive l'amour. Vive la compagnie. Okay, so that's what you got. I feel like this might not necessarily be as in good of tune as I want. Here's why you download a tuner onto your phone. Eventually you'll be teaching a class. You'll own 900 tuners, and none of them will be within arm's reach. So you click on your phone, you click on music, you click on G strings, you hit the first one. Strings have gotten loose because it's so hot. Because Philip is ruining everything. How to strum in 6/8? Great question, Iago. So we're in 6/8, right? So you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at what that looks like. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. That seems like a bad idea to me. Okay, so you probably don't want to strum in 6. You probably want to strum in 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Okay, or you might pluck in 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Okay, so you're thinking 2. When you see 6/8, your first thought should probably not be 6. It should be 2. And if you look at where the chords show up on here, look at just that first line there. There's a chord on beat 1, and then there's a chord on what is technically beat 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's true on that whole first line. So the chord is technically happening on the 4th beat, but in your head, it's really the 2nd beat, right? Because you're really thinking 1, 2, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. Okay, and so I think if I were just looking at this from a straight strummer perspective, I'm thinking strumming in 2 and probably just thumb down. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. Success to each other and pass it along. All right, so that's how I'm thinking. If you're plucking, obviously I showed you there's 2 plucks each, or 1 pluck per chord. Let every good fellow now join in this song. But if you want to fancy it up, arpeggios. Now, when you do arpeggios, you can do 6. In this case, I would probably do thumb, index, middle, thumb, index, middle. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. Let best to each other and pass it along. Vive la compagnie. Okay, so now I am plucking in 6, but you'll notice, and when I'm doing that, my thumb is hitting that C string pretty hard because I want people to know that's the beat. pa pa, 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 pa pa. Okay, so my thumb is hitting the C string a little bit harder so that beat is very clear. One triplet, two triplet, one triplet, two triplet, and because of the way ukulele is set up, you're not necessarily root noting it, but you're hitting the lowest note in the chord that you happen to be holding at that time. So my thinking here is the only time you would really do a 6 is probably with some type of arpeggio pattern. You could do thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. Now you have a 6 pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This gets a little weird with high G ukulele because you've got this note that's not what you'd expect generally, but let's give it a try. 1, 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. S to each other and pass it along. Vive la compagnie. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive l'amour, vive l'amour, vive la compagnie. Okay. That works better, that 6 pattern, thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. That actually works pretty good on that last part of the song. It sounded kind of cool. I don't think I would use it on the first part of the song is a little too complicated to want to really do that. So then you're thinking as a master musician, hey, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to do strumming in the first half, and then I'm going to switch to an arpeggio pattern in the bottom. Let's try it, okay? Okay, and I know you're having to listen to me sing a lot tonight because you'll be fine on the rest. Okay, here we go. Strum 2 beats per measure through the first half of the song, then switch to a thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index pattern, and the measures 9 to the end. Okay, 1, 2. Let every good fellow now join in this song. Vive la compagnie. Success to each other and pass it along. Vive la compagnie. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour. Vive l'amour, vive l'amour, vive la compagnie. Okay, 1, 2, 3. If I'm doing arpeggio patterns, and I'm probably going to add on a measure 7, I'm going to turn 16 into 2 measures to give me time to do the turnaround and come back up to the top. And as I come around, I'm going to do that twice. A friend on your left and a friend on your right. And then you go back to your original strum idea. That way you can mix it up. You got strumming and plucking, and everybody thinks you're a genius. You're not a genius necessarily. No, you guys are Mensons, I know that. But your playing skills sound so much more sophisticated than they really are. And so I think by mixing up in a song like this, where you have clearly one part of the song feels a certain way, and the second part of the song feels a completely different way, that's a great opportunity. Thumb versus arpeggio picking. Okay, and so we got a really cool piece of music here that I think plays into our hands in terms of thinking about just chording. If you never sing, it's fine. You still you hum it to yourself. And then if you never sing, right, go get with a friend who's going to play the melody. Go teach them how to play melody. They play the melody. You play all these cool stuff on your chords, and you're like, wow, we're really something. Let's very quickly run through the Tuff uke just so you hear it one time, and then we're going to move on to Broadway show tunes. Okay, so from the top on the Tuff uke, there's nothing here. Okay, it's not particular. I don't know. Let's find out. From the top, Oh, I guess the D minor with your 3 is something. That is something. You've got your D minor. D minor is not necessarily in all of your wheelhouses. F chord, add your ring finger, now your D minor. Melody on 3, that's where your pinky comes in. You're going to play that. Middle of measure 3, you've got this 2, 3, 5. You can either use a G chord and add your pinky, or do index, middle, pinky to get that 2, 3, 5 arrangement. And bar chords, did I mention that I wish people were better at bar chords? I would take them seriously and work on them a little bit. You got a bar chord at measure 10, which is play no F chord, right? F chord, bar on 5, pinky on 8. But you have to use the bar because there's no way to do an F chord and reach clear up here to 8. I guess theoretically it's possible. If you're Jake Shimabukuro, you have giant hands, a little instrument, you can. Okay, but if you're us, bar on 8, pinky on 5, he does that as well. You got your G7 up the neck at 11, and another bar chord at 14, bar on 4, ring on 7. Okay. That's your high D minor. That's coming up in your life. Let's play the whole thing, top to bottom, and then top to bottom again on ukulele. Baritones, if you'll grab your chords here just to support us, and then of course your sheet music is identical, just in your key. Okay, so 2 times through. 1, 2. Second ending. Probably need to have a 003 on beat 1, and then probably a wiggly on beat 4. So a glissando. So that's a nice piece of music for to spend a week on, in terms of lots of different skill sets. Really focused in around chording, really focusing on some bar chords up the neck. Standard bar chords, like all of these bar chords are coming up again, right? The F on 5, the D minor on 5, that G7, it's not technically a bar chord but feels equally crazy. All of those are coming up in your Book 2 life. All those are coming up all of the time in Book 3. So a really good piece of music for just, double checking your preparedness as you're moving forward, and then and playing a song you're not necessarily super comfortable with, like this isn't a song most of you know, using the MP3 on the website, going and listening to a couple of, on YouTube there's a million groups that do this, and they're always, college choruses, and you're like, holy cow, that is the most beautiful thing ever. And so you get a chance to, go listen to a few of those. So get comfy with the song. It's a great song, and it sounds really, really nice on ukulele, and you get to use all of your skills. So pretty cool. Except you don't get to use Jan's pull-ons and hammer-offs. That's her thing lately. And Jan and I are going to have a come-to meeting about her and her hammer-ons. But that's your song for the week. And let's see. I'm just going to ask you guys because I don't really care. We are wrapping up where's book two? Book two. We just finished this. This is the last one in the celebration section. So we could go next to Ireland. We could go do some classical. We can do some cowboys. We can do some French songs. I love those. We can do some Italian songs. We can do some Espanol songs. We can do some more sort of religious type songs that are ukulele for the spirit. Stephen Foster, I still never have finished up the baritone stuff on that. It might force me to do it. And then, of course, we can always do Tin Pan Alley. So if you have a preference as to where we go next, toss it in the chat bar. I will consider it. So anyway, we've never did the entire celebration group as a clump, and so this is the last song in that group. And so anything out of book two that you'd like, that you're thinking, yeah, I'd like to work on some of that, toss that in the chat bar here. Now let's talk book three, and let's also talk the future before some of you will run out of here. No class on Monday. Okay, Monday night a thing came up. I'm taking advantage of the opportunity, and so there won't be a class on Monday. Meanwhile, I have promised you an email for weeks now, and I literally believe, as I was finishing up getting ready to come to this class, I'm 99% sure that I finished the thing that I wanted to send to you a couple weeks back, and that we're going to be playing also in this group because it's useful on two separate dimensions, and I'm pretty sure it's done. So I'm pretty sure you'll be getting an email probably tomorrow with some stuff on it, and also to remind you not to come to class on Monday. So that's, get that in your thinking cap. There's no class on Monday at all, and then keep an eye on the email. If you've never signed up for Jolly Roger emails, and do it, man. It's really easy to unsubscribe, and also if you don't unsubscribe and you never click on a link after about 10 emails, I delete you anyway. So you won't be on that email list forever if you don't want to be. Couple of people are on it forever that I kind of am like, yeah, look at what we're doing. But mostly not. Jan has made it in. Good to see you, Jan. I knew you'd made it in. That's why I made your hammer-on joke. Linda, cloudy and 64. Oh, it's kind of cold up in Vancouver. Rita's in from Chicago. It rained all day. We're supposed to get some rain this afternoon. It's super hot out there right now. It said 48% chance. In Colorado, that means it's going to rain for about 10 minutes, but we're going to think it's a deluge. Some of you guys live places where it really rains, and we do not know what that feels like in Colorado. It was 93. It's now 88, so the front is moving in. I think we're going to get some rain. Exciting. All right, so guys, on today's stuff, member rock party, let me jump over into that member section and have you just briefly, what I'm going to be doing, we're going to be digging into a few more Broadway show tunes. I also have a couple of classical tunes that I want to do. I'm not really going by theme anymore. I'm just, whatever songs I get to, that's the ones you're going to work on. By doing these two songs that we're going to do today from Little Johnny Jones, give my regards to Broadway, and Yankee Doodle Boy, we have then played all of the Broadway tunes in Book 2 recently, and by recently within the last 6 months or so. So I'm working on Phantom of the Opera. I also have a couple of Rent tunes that I want, well, at least one Rent tune, I don't know if I'll get to the other one, that I want to get up on the board. Plus, I'm going to be doing more with lead sheets and getting those out for those of you guys that want to work on learning arranging. And we're just going to use Broadway show tunes because guess what happened? Where do I have that book? I don't have it here. Must be over there. I walked out, we have a giveaway table, and sitting on the giveaway table the other day was Broadway Show Tunes fake book, and it's huge, and somebody's giving it away, and I have the other Broadway Show Tunes fake book, so we have about 50,000 Broadway tunes to choose from, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to use these as a way to teach arranging, and so you're going to be getting some more Broadway music coming at you. I'm not a huge Broadway fan, but I get the allure. Like it's usually, these songs kind of get into your head. A couple of Broadway shows I really like. I really like Les Mis, and I really like Phantom of the Opera. I'm okay with Rent. The rest of them I can take or leave, right? But those are sort of my favorites. And so you'll be getting some of that coming at you. Also, lots of you have asked me about more classical, and as you know, getting the classical to fit onto the ukulele is the big hope. We have to really sort of knuckle it under and make it comply. And so sometimes they come out great, and sometimes they're sort of like, I don't know. But I'm going to try to get you some more classical themes at least. I never did finish Schumann's Traumiere, which I definitely want you to have because it's so cool. So that's where we're headed. Red is in. It's spitting up in Wheatridge. Good. And Lynn is in 83 in Laguna. She's in Laguna Beach. It's 83 degrees. It's probably, sun is out, but there's a light mist in the air. Little angels are singing in your ear. Little fairies and sprites come by and do your fingernails. So whatever, Linda. Glad you're here. So let's talk about the two tunes that we're going to be doing here. The first one, let's do, of the two, Yankee Doodle Boy is less interesting, so let's do that one first. And I think I put these in here. I hope I did. I was playing them the other day, Yankee Doodle. Maybe I was playing them off the computer. Probably was. All right, so give me just a sec. Let me open up them on my computer. Go away. Log in. Dun. I got this computer with a big screen on it, so half the time I just play on that now. Member portal. And guys, remember for the TuffRawk or Book 3 or however way you want to think about it, that stuff will continue to come out of the member section. We're just trying to encourage people to join as members, right? And so I think once people join there, realize, hey, this is a pretty valuable resource. It's worth a little bit of money to me. So grabbing Yankee Doodle Boy, this is not Yankee Doodle, right? It feels a little Yankee Doodle-ish in the second half of the song, but the first half doesn't feel particularly Yankee Doodle-ish. So let me get these posted up here now. I'll just put them in my book real quick, and we'll be ready to roll. So these are all updated arrangements from previous. So if you had happened to have worked on these with me the first time through, then you want to update your sheet music because these are all quite a bit different than they were. And I'm almost done. Sorry, guys. All right. So Yankee Doodle Boy, the easier of the two. Okay. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. And then it sounds like Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole song. Let's talk about the pieces and parts. You got your G chord. Hopefully that's where you live. Okay, baritones, your G chord looks like that. A chord. Okay, baritones, yours looks like this. Okay, D chord. Okay, baritones, yours looks like that. Okay, E7. Okay, E7's coming up, guys. That's from early in your book 1 experience, the little booklet that we did. Okay, baritones, yours is right here. A minor, right there. Baritones, yours looks like that. Okay. I think that's it. Okay, so those are your chords. Trying to demonstrate good behaviors each time we grab a new piece of sheet music. We go through the chords, then we play the melody, then we play the chord melody. That's the good behaviors you want to get into. Grab your chords, hum along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got So that's it, right? There's nothing. That's like book one levels. I used to teach this in book one. And then I decided, it's Broadway. I'll save it for Broadway. I'll save it for book three. Those guys will appreciate it more. All right, now, so there's nothing in the chorus, nothing particularly challenging or interesting or great or whatever. If you were singing it and you wanted to make it interesting, think about arpeggio playing. You're in 4, so thumb, index, middle, index. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm a Yankee Doodle Daddy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle boy. Yankee Doodle, right? And then I would change. I for sure wouldn't do the whole thing arpeggio. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. Something, right? I don't know what I would do there, but change it up. You got a completely different song in measure at beginning at measure 13 than you've had before. All right, let's play melody. You baritones, you're going to stay on chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 2, 3. Pay attention, there are a couple of 16th notes in here. Well, there's one 16th note, right? In measure 15. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. So you want to get that key really fast. Right, and it's really, the arrangement helps here. Just 3, 0, 2, 3. Okay, I was working with a guitarist last night whose name is Gary, and he said, you know what I always do when I'm getting ready to start on the Tuff, in guitar I call it Tuff Axe. I always just play through the melody a whole bunch before I start that, so that way the song is in, the important part of the song is in my head. Then when I go do the Tuff Axe, or in your case the Tuff Uke, I don't jip the melody. Jip, you're not supposed to use the word jip. I don't short the melody. The melody still is coming out, and I'm using Tuff Uke to make this sound more beautiful and more full, but I don't want to lose the melody once I added all these other decorative notes. So I do think playing melody, even if you're going to play it just as a soloist, it's worth taking your time to dig into that. Let's see. Rita agrees with me. All right. And Diane made it in. Hey, Diane. Good to see you. All right, so let's go into Tuff Uke, okay? So start with your G chord. Almost always you're going to grab your chord, okay? Here we go. Middle finger up. 3, 2, 3. A regular A chord. Decorative note. D chord. G chord. Decorative notes. B7s, bar on 4, A minor with the 3, decorative, A chord with the ring finger up on 2, D chord, decoration, repeat, or bar on 7, pinky on 10. Okay. This is a G chord way up here. Bar on 7, pinky on 10. Those of you who were there last Monday night, you'll remember. Okay. C chord with a pinky, put a bar on, start moving it up. On 2, it's a D. On 4, it's an E. On 5, it's an F. And on 7, it's a G. Okay? And you theoretically could go up to 10. You got another A chord up there. I think I've used that once in all these years. But I use G chord on 7 all the time. That sounds kind of cool on ukulele. Okay, so you have a nice piece of music that's not terribly hard to help you just really start thinking through all of your procedures about the best way to attack sheet music. So often you open it up, you go straight to Tuff Uke, and you fight your way through it. And there's a part of me that's like, you know what, if you would just do what I tell you to do, which is go ahead and take a little bit of time out and study the simpler parts of the music. Then when you get to the more complicated parts of the music, it's much easier to play. I mean, I'm as guilty as the next person of your piece of music, go directly to the hard stuff, get going on. But it's not smart, right? The smarter thing to do is, hey, I'm going to study the architecture of the piece of music that I'm going to play, and that way, when I get to the part that I really want to do, the part where I bring all of it together, I already know everything in the song, and I don't have to think it through very much. All right, let's go grab Yankee Doodle Boy as a baritone piece. All right. Yankee Doodle Boy, baritone. Okay. Done. Okay. Ukulele players, you're going to be on chords now. Okay. Baritones, you already know how to play this. Okay. D chord on ukulele is here. E chord. Oh, it's a bar on 4 with your pinky on 7. So probably, doesn't it make sense to play a bar on 2 with your pinky on 5? That's a D. Slide up to E, and now you've got both of those covered. A chord's open and easy. Okay, then go back to your D chord. From D chord to get to B7, that's your A7 moved up to 2. So again, bar chord with your middle finger here, that's your B7. Sheesh, this whole song is trying to tell you, hey, you should play a bar chord, right? D chord, E chord, B7, and you know what else? There's an A chord, bar 4, F shape. Diane and I had a hilarious conversation about F shape. This is your F chord, that's the F shape, moved up, bar on 4. Okay, so if I'm on ukulele, I'm already thinking, you know what, Gary's been telling us all about these bar chords. I think he was blowing a lot of hot air, but all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, here it is. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of mine. E minor, that one I'll do open. Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. Okay, and then all of a sudden I am 4th of July. 4th, born on the 4th of July. I was like, that didn't sound right. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am F-shape, a Yankee Doodle boy. There, this piece is screaming at you as a ukulele player. Use bar chords. Whole thing, the whole thing. You could do it. Okay. This is your moment. This is accidental. I didn't set this up at all. Okay. Baritone players. Finally, Tuff Uke. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or bar on 7, pinky on 10, everybody grabs their G chords and, or D chords I should say. Okay, beautiful. Next week we'll play that one straight through in all the different ways. So as always, study, if you're on ukulele, study the chords on the baritone sheet, and then of course study the chords on your sheet, the melody on your sheet, and the Tuff uke on your sheet. That's the easier of the two songs we have. Now let's go take a look at Give My Regards to Broadway. G, ukulele book 3. Give my regards to Broadway. This is an unbelievably old song. When I wrote it in, I was like, that can't be right, and I actually went and double checked. 1904. So it is public domain. You can play this all you want. You can go out. You could walk into Disney Studios and play this one. They would have nothing. They could say nothing to you. Okay. I'm going to do it on ukulele first because most of you play ukulele as your main instrument. Many of you are learning baritone or have both, right? Most of you guys that have baritones also have a ukulele, which is probably how all human beings should be. That no Jolly Rider. Here we go. Chords. Okay. Go. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me at Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. C7? Isn't that awesome? A minor, A7. Give my regards to old Broadway and tell them I will soon be there. Here's a cool turnaround. And then you would go back and repeat. Okay, so early on, 1904, they're already thinking more interesting turnarounds. By the time they get to jazz shows up on the scene, the turnarounds are very, very cool. And those of you guys who did jazz with me last year, was it 2 years, at some point in the past, you know how cool the turnarounds can be. And here you've got one that's early on, fairly surprisingly interesting. That's weird. That's really weird. And that makes sense. It's G7 and then okay. So then you go back. Yeah, so those chords work in my head. Let's play the melody. Baritones, you stay on chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. In my ears, that sounds exactly like what it's supposed to be. Didn't play it exactly great, but that sounds like the melody I'm looking for. And the next thing I would say on that is I didn't even think about it until I was already into the song, but I counted you in at 1, 2, 3, 4, and what I should have counted you in is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? You're sitting at quarter note equals 180. That should tell you play this thing as fast as you possibly can, right? And so the 2 times through should probably take you a minute and a half to play the whole song, and so yeah, it's kind of cool. Now I gave you a tough uke and a painful uke, so let's do the tough uke first. Nice and I'll slow it down a lot. Obviously, when we get to tough uke, you'll have all week to work on this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. D minor with a 3. G7. 3. D minor. G7. And 0, 0, 3. G7. Let it ring, go. D7, high G7, A minor, D with a bar, add your 3, high G7, let it ring and then go. D minor with the 3, G7. C. C7. We'll stop here. Look at the picture of the A7 up above. There's an index on 5, middle on 6, going to look like an F chord. And then you're going to take your ring and pinky and put those up on strings 1 and 3 in the 7th fret. What are you really doing here? From my last Monday night, you're really playing an E7, and then you're bringing it up and putting your bar, which is just one finger, one string, on 5. Okay, so think about this. Here's your E7. If I move it up 1, it's an F7. If I move it up 2 to 3, it's a G7, and if I move it up to 5, it's an A7, and this A7 is going to come up. It's going to come up. This is going to come up a lot. So you're getting comfortable from lesson number, I think 8. We did the little booklet with the E7 chord in it. Okay. Now you're just same chord, just with a little bit of mini bar on it, and you're on the 5th fret, and you have an A7 there. Okay, and you need that because the melody note's a 7. Okay, here we go. From 25, ready, play. Okay, and right back, and make sure this time your pinky's got to go up to the 8, and then back to the 7. Regular D minor on 5. This A7 chord, this is another A7. Your index finger's on the 3, 4, and 5. All it is your G7 moved up to this fret here. You're really going to end up playing A minor 7th here. It'll sound fine. Old, broad, D minor, way, pinky, and then C chord. D7, G7 high, C chord. Here's your turnaround. Okay, second time through, you would skip that part and go to the end. And then you've got your bar chord, your B flat on 3, that's a C chord. Okay, sounds fancier that way. Let's play through 25. Let's do this. Let's start. Let's start at 25 and just play through 32, just so you have one more chance at it. Okay, so nice and slow. However fast you can play this section is how fast you should play the whole song. Okay, from 25, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, isn't that fun? Really, pretty surprisingly complex on the ukulele for a song that starts off feeling like, oh, anybody can play this, and then you get to that higher section and you're like, oh, I gotta actually focus. Let's talk about the painful uke. Difference between tough uke and painful uke is that when I write out tough uke, I want you to be able to play it with your thumb, if that's where you're at. I really do. I tell you all the time, you should be also working on your claw, but I definitely want you to be able to play it with your thumb. And in most of the cases, almost all of the arrangements I do, you can. Painful uke is the exact opposite. I really expect you to use your claw on this because you're going to be doing a note on every single quarter note in this song. And because you have to play this song so fast, it's going to feel like every single eighth note, okay? But it's really a quarter note. Okay, so grab your claw, and so something's going to happen every beat, more or less. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got a little bit full of myself, right? It's moving a little bit too rapid of a pace at measure 24, and I'm like, oh, I think I better dial it back. And then, of course, it was too late, right? So then I got kind of twisted up. If I was working on this, if I'm like, all right, I'm gonna teach people how to play Give My Regards to Broadway, and I'm going to go present it on stage and make them weep with how beautiful I play it. I'm working on 25 through 28, like I'm working on that until my fingers are memorized, where I can just stare at my fingers and who cares what's happening on the paper. But isn't that fun when you put all of that stuff together? The song actually starts to sound like it almost sounds like a carnival when you add in every single quarter note. There's something happening, and so a lot of decorative notes, a lot of chordal notes that are sort of hiding around in the background start to get a chance to step up and play a little bit of a role. So you should this week. I think it's a great song to work on all of the parts that we work on. Work on the chords, make sure that those are going fine for you. That should be pretty smooth. remember, when I put in the fancy chords, like a 25, this is the A7 I want you to play because of the instrumental part. But if you're singing it, you're going to play that A7, okay? Because why kill yourself? And so you want to know both the regular A, the open position A7, and the closed position A7. And then sing through it, then play the melody through it, obviously. Then I would do the Tuff acts on its own. That's plenty, right? You don't have to play the Painful Uke. Painful Uke is there for, again, those of you guys that are wanting to be top level. I want you to be able to play in all the different ways, and so that's why I give you so many different ways to play the exact same thing. And then play it both Tuff Uke and then play it through Painful Uke. Again, Tuff Uke, generally speaking, when I'm arranging, I'm thinking thumb down. When I'm thinking Painful Uke, I'm like, the kids' gloves are off. Not that Tuff Uke is kids' gloves. That's super hard. but I'm really thinking in a much more classically oriented position. I'm going to play like I'm a classical guitar player, and I'm going to do everything with a claw. And so that's it. Philip has happened to sneak out and catch the rest of the lesson online. All right, good to see you, Philip. Have a wonderful day. He's from Florida. He likes his hot weather. We have a minute. I want to play through the baritone version of Give My Regards to Broadway so that you have heard it. And then, Give My Regards to Broadway, baritone. And then we'll be set. Later, well, sometime tomorrow, I will try to get you out an email. The song that I'm going to send to you, and I can never remember the name of it, is called, let me pull it up, I just finished it earlier. It's called Are You Having Any Fun? And it's from a Broadway review. It used to be the George White Scandals of 1939. And it's one of these just super fun songs with a little, you know how they used to put a little bit of naughtiness in there, a little bit of double entendre in there. This thing's full of it. Are you having any fun? Dun, 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 dun. What you getting out of living? Dun, dun, dun. What good is what you've got if you're not having any fun? Okay, so that's the song that I will be posting here tomorrow. I think I played it through 10,000 times today. I think it's done, which means I just have to create the baritone sheet and then post it. So that's what's coming. I'll probably have it posted either tonight or tomorrow. And I want so when you have a minute, come by, pick that up. That'll be on your sort of to-do list this week, because I'm also going to post a lead sheet version of it so that those guys that are wanting to work on arranging have something that's a little bit challenging, and I can walk you through it step by step how I arranged it, so that you will then compare it to what you did. And we did that a couple years back, well, maybe a year ago. We were doing a lot with lead sheets, and I want to do more with it. So because a lot of you guys, there's a ton of songs you guys want to do that I'm never going to get to, and so you should know how to do it yourself. Okay? Give my regards to Broadway. Painful baritone. And ukulele players, your chords are G, A minor, D7, there's an A chord, E7, okay. Most of those chords should be in your wheelhouse, okay. Here we go. Painful uke, Tuff uke, melody, whatever you want to, baritones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me start again. I gotta get some melody out of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. the second time through, skip 31 and 32, play 33 to the end. I think this is a fun song. Okay. Oops. Okay, so those are your 2 songs, plus you'll get a 3rd song probably either later tonight or tomorrow for the week. And that way you're working on those. I'm going to try to get out the couple of more modern Broadway tunes and also a much easier arranging song as well. So this one, arranging this one, not this one, the Scandal one, Are You Having Any Fun, be a pretty challenging arrangement. I'll get to out something that's a little bit more straightforward so that you can try your hands at arranging that as well, if that's something you're working on. I think that's what I know about ukulele today. Linda said she had a lovely duet with me. That's very nice. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. The way we play ukulele around here is super hard, and so take it at whatever makes sense to you. If just chords make sense, play it that way. If just melody makes sense, play it that way. If tough uke is making sense, but painful uke isn't, don't play painful uke, right? Play tough uke. My goal is to get you where you are comfortable with playing in all of the possible ways, and that is a process, as you have figured out, that involves a little bit of pain and suffering. And so hopefully you're having pain and suffering. I will talk to you soon. Toss me an email. I'm basically caught up with email. I'm still, I think I'm caught up with the emails I'm going to get to. And so if I have not written you back about something, please send me a new email, because I think that your email is probably buried beyond salvation. And so I think it'd be time to do that. Still working on the arpeggios. Nice. I am too, Jan. So, yeah. I think I've been working on those arpeggios now for over a decade, and I think they're pretty good. You should play them. All right, you guys. Harmonica starts in 10 minutes. Come join us. Come grab a harmonica and join us, and I'll see the rest of you guys at some point next week. Remember, no class Monday night. Love the flexibility in your lessons. That's what we gotta have, right? You want to play the good stuff, but you don't necessarily. Your skill set is what it is, and so find that place where you can make something fun for yourself. Have a wonderful week. End. Peace.